How's it going, everybody? Sorry about that. I leave that restroom. Tough topics. Tough topics. R. Kelly. Shout out to the late new tabs for Between Two Worlds. That's what's planned. I have another one I'm gonna be playing. It's called They Don't Understand by Joji, which is formerly known as Filthy Frank. Filthy Frank. Quite a silly person. Silliest person. Okay. All right, one moment, please. But okay. Back on it again. Okay, so back to this R. Kelly thing. Um, my thing is just that R. Kelly hasn't shown any um sense of repentance, just sense of like um consideration, stopping. It's just now that we're getting like R. Kelly's. Oh, I was going through it and stuff like that. I'm like, no, because to me that is way too convenient that he's under the brunt of things. He's like under a microscope now, and now he's saying, "Oh, poor me, poor me." Here's my sympathy. It didn't like he's a great musician, but I mean I don't know. Let's tie it to an extreme. If somebody was a great entertainer, but they were an abuser, and I don't know. I've heard from was it one of the persons in the Beatles or something, Elton John. He was a white beater. I don't know, but no, like like from what I heard, he had a sex dungeon with several women, uh, and they because it's like a part of this more relativism. We just don't want to like judge or feel judged, and the Bible say, "Judge lest ye be judged." So it's like if you're gonna judge or criticize somebody, be helpful, be helpful, and don't be in the same right in which you're judging. You know, don't judge people when you're under the same judgment and you're not doing well. Excuse me, poor position, poor placement in judgment. So everybody got has skeletons in the closet, and a shadow, a thing that's unpleasant, those things that are lingering in your mind that just isn't good. You know, like for instance, there's shock videos throughout the internet that people in their curiosity peek through. I hate bringing this up, but and I mentioned this earlier today. I saw a video where let's just say some unpleasant things happened. It was abuse. Uh, you know, it's just it's not good. I don't know what to tell you. It in my mind, it's just like, is this real? You know, are they real? Are they real kids? You know, because it was like that doesn't. It's one thing like a kid does something wrong, you discipline them, you might like yell at them or something just to get him to stop doing it. But to just do it, to just slap them, the kid, they would just. I don't know. I can't bring myself to keep talking about it because it's just not only is it incomprehensible, it's just like, why would somebody do such a thing? Why would they do it? Why? I don't know. I don't know. It's just stuff like that. That is outside of my realm of possibility. I don't know why they would do such a thing. And I think that's just it. In this society of America. And another thing, I guess, what we understand was good for us Americans to do is just go outside of our comfort zones of America. I think America can live in a vacuum almost, where despite being a superpower, we live in a very insulated place where only our problems matter and the outside world doesn't. And you go out to other places, you realize different forms of treatment, different experiences, different people, different places, different lifestyles, different worldviews, different POVs, just a bunch of new things. And I haven't been anywhere else apart from America and apart from a few states. But even then, like it bothers me sometimes because even the people you meet, the different people you meet, in America, they have it's like a common thread of speech. Like you might even meet some who just quickly cut to the chase of the common thread for the modern topics, for like things that we talk about. Oh, you hear about that thing with this president, or you hear about that thing with this political statement, or this bill, this law, or the tensions of America, and it's so it's tiresome. It can get real tiresome. It can get real tiresome when that person, when the particular people do not, um, they don't listen, you know, or rather, that all they want to do is just vent to you. And despite you being a different person of a different perspective, that's all they want to do. You're a talking point. You know, they have this view of talking. I'm sorry, of peace, but it's like a biased piece, like a respective piece in their own way, and it's like you know, is only peaceful in their respect. But I know there's people who are kind of like myself who hold a rather I like to think I'm a moderate. I'm a Christian, but I hold myself in a very moderate place. Like this isn't a theocracy. It's what is it, a democratic republic or something like that. It's I know where we're at. We're not in Israel, I suppose. We're not in the old Jerusalem. You know, we're not even Jerusalem was under I believe Caesar, so and that wasn't a theocracy. But basically, what I'm saying is that I recognize that my God doesn't make the political isn't in charge of the political statement these days. Now, I understand from my perspective, he's sovereign. He works through things. He's just working through the inner weavings of life and reality. But currently, it's just like I cannot enforce that over other people. All I could be is a positive influence for people, and if they become curious, I tell them about Jesus, and I let them know just like this is things I've learned. These are things that I've understood. These are things I'm going through. These are things that I'm comprehending with my own self and language. So it's just being there, letting them know this is where I come from, respectfully, in a respective way. Uh, but yeah, so I don't know. In terms of R. Kelly, I'm not gonna listen too much to this song. I'm because I mean, from what I understand from this Christian perspective, it's like the ones who used to say, sorry, excuse me, the ones who used to say, "Hey, we don't support that. We don't support this music." They were known as just to be prudish, very conservative, I suppose. Just labels. Since people don't like labels, but they still throw them out anyway. They were given a bunch of labels and judgment terms and stuff like that. Right. But now that we understand, now it's just like I don't know. Ironically, it blows up in our face. We're just like, what? He's supporting what? A person who was hypersexual is surprisingly supporting a sexual deviancy such as borderline pedophilia, I suppose. And here's what it boils down to, from what I can suggest. Pedophilia is extremely bad because it's irresponsible. It's extremely irresponsible. You are projecting your sexual will upon a young, a underaged, irresponsible teenager, which will irresponsibly influence that teenager's mind that's underdeveloped, not fully developed, because your brain fully develops at the age of 25. And I know at 25, that was pivotal for me. I learned a bunch of stuff. I was very quick to understand a lot more stuff. Like, for instance, like back when I was like 12, there's a lot of songs that I listened to, but I didn't understand. And for me, even that concept itself, I didn't understand. It was like, I heard the melody and stuff, but it didn't make sense to me. And now that I'm listening to it again, I'm like, that's what he said. Like Pastor Gavassia from Busta Rhymes had no idea what the heck he was saying. I didn't have any idea what Pharrell Williams was saying. I just heard dun 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 dun. Don't this stuff make my people wanna jump, jump, like stuff like that. But and maybe that's similar with the new generation. They don't really listen to the lyrics currently because their brains aren't tuned to that point where they're listening to lyrics and understanding stuff. I think this idea of form and function in terms, because it's a term in art that's called form and function, where the form is just like how it's stylized, how it's presented, and function is how is the art's functionality. So it's like blue might be representing like sadness, and there might be a lot of blue or something, like where it functionally presents itself. If that's a general term, I suppose, but it's like it's functional art. It makes sense. It has a function. It has purpose. It has specific purpose. Versus form, it's not really a form. It's abstract. It's really up to you to make it what you think. Make it what you want of it. But also, I'm thinking about changing because I think the loop is too short for it to smoothly transition. It's kind of distracting. But man, I love it. But again, I think the idea of hip hop will swing, it'll pendulum swing back and forth between form and function. As it always been. Back in the day it was about rhyming. Back in the day it was about how you rhyme, alliteration, rhyming, and stuff like that. Then it was about drug dealing, and then it was about I'm not really doing this in chronological order, freestyling, it was just a whole bunch of stuff there. And so ultimately where I'm going is just rap will just take its course. It'll go its course. I'm still glad for those lyrical people, Kendrick, J. Cole. Haven't heard from Earl Sweatshirt, but I'm gonna check him out. But besides the point, we're talking about R. Kelly here. R. Kelly, I personally think, I think a he should have exercised further responsibility. Just it. If you really, and part of it, like one of the things is the nice guy, the nerdy person, is that people expect these people not to have sexual urges or sexual feelings, and if they do, they don't care enough about them because they're not popular, they're not really iconic or what's focused upon. And R. Kelly was a nerdy person before he discovered his talent. He was a nerdy, quiet person, but at the same time, that could have been a result of him being abused, victimized. But it is bothersome because someone, again, it's this cycle, this cycle of an older person abusing a younger person, and that younger person is just hindered in life. That person can't be a individual, and I'm glad for that lifetime, because it shows both sides of the spectrum. Like, because in our cancel culture, we're very quick to like throw people under the bus and like run them over twice, like instead of seeing everything and happening and being a bit more rational. We're like very knee jerk with our responses. We're like, oh, throw them out, instead of just saying based off the evidence that we've seen. And of course, these are comments, people trying to be funny and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, even the joking at this time, where there's a documentary of people being hurt, there's people joking. And I'm like, for me, sometimes that seriously irritated me. It aggravated me a little, because I'm like, the black community for some reason cannot stop joking for a quick sec to just be on one accord, which was surprising to me, especially with this Trump presidency, that people weren't on one accord. Like, there was just joking. There wasn't. I'm sorry, I was just speaking from a Christian standpoint, even though there's Christians who are wholeheartedly support him. And of course, you pray for people like that. But the guy said he was Christian, so it's like the church is supposed to deal with him. And he's just kind of moved around, floated around, and we was just, oh, I don't know what's going on. It's just like we were so quick to do that against the LGBT, the Christmas cups. And then we have Trump floating around being obvious than what he does, and we're just like, I'm wrong. And it's just, goodness. But going back to R. Kelly, I just think, like, I think as a young teen growing up, being that nerdy person before he knew his talent, because he was talented. He had a keyboard. That's probably where he expressed himself. He's a very talented individual. He probably looked at the teenage girls. I remember when I was in high school, I was looking at the teenage girls. I saw the fine girls, the popular girls. They were pretty and stuff like that. I saw them, and I knew, and that, I was still tried to be respectful. Tried to, but for me, I was a nerd. So I'm like, I didn't know at the time. I was just kind of being there, meandering through high school and stuff. Had good people, good friends. Just having my back and such. Um, but for him, I just think in terms of R. Kelly, him being a individual, I think. Sorry, I'm just waiting. But okay, there we go. Because I'm like, I knew I was gonna get distracted. With I think him being a talented person now, after he realized his talent and realized his skill, and basically pushed forward in his career, won that contest, got in a record deal, a label. Sorry, Nick. I think after he got that, because it says it in the interview, like after he went full speed ahead and he was just kind of flying, soaring, I think there was that time where his mind didn't as he grew older, his mind didn't grow with him. His mind didn't mature with his age. I think his mind just kind of stayed at that point where he was like 14, 15. And then when he got like big man status, he went back to his old high school, and he was with that what 16-year-old mind in a like 24, 5, 6's body, and he was recruiting young girls, help over some signing stuff, but he was kind of sexing them up. Now he was saying that I don't want to bring that up just yet. I'm trying to expand on this. Is that so he was sexing these females up, trying to get their talent and also the tails, but and that's not something to really laugh about. Just find it clever alliteration. So after that, like, I just think that was, again, his mind didn't catch up with him, and for me, it took me time to catch up with myself, because, like, for instance, there was times where I was like when I started getting into pornography at the age of like 13, 14, I was looking at all types of stuff, like the journal stuff, the teens and stuff like that. I was a young teen. And then when I became around 21, 22, 23, my mind was still kind of there. I was a nerdy person. I didn't get hot females, so it's like I was there. Now, and let me bring this disclaimer. In the porn, from what I understand, in the porn industry, it sucks that some things get slipped through the cracks, but from what I understand, that they don't have underage teenagers doing sex work and stuff, but 18, stuff like that. It's stupid because in the porn industry, I mean, I'm not gonna say in the industry, but from what I see in the videos, they say, "Ooh, she's a teen," and then they have this teen in pigtails, and I'm like, what's the message you're putting out here? It's like, what kind of teen who's 18 wears pigtails? To me, that's stupid. It's like, I get what you're selling. Like, who are you trying to fool? Like, just trying to be honest here. Who are you trying to fool? But that's what they say. They're 18. I don't know if they're blessed. I just imagine in my mind that they're acting and that they're of appropriate age. And I'm sorry, because I was stressing my mind about that, because I'm like, I know how people can get with this cancel culture. They're like, pressing a button to blow people's careers up instead of like trying to check out details, and then for the people, I don't know. I just think we move too quick, and it's just too much information hitting us to the point where we can actually mull over the information and say, okay, this, and come up with an appropriate and informed answer. It's just too much sometimes. But going back to this, I like to think that's one of my rationales. I'm not saying that was right. I'm just saying similar because I want to kind of regard come to Michael Jackson in terms of his abuse. And it's not really that I don't want to make it a one-to-one comparison because I don't know his perspective or even know the reality of those accusations, those sexual assault accusations. I don't know, so I'm not gonna make that a one-to-one comparison. But ironically, it's very similar because he was abused as a child, and so he made this Neverland Ranch, and again, he grew up like his mind stayed at that young age. And he was a young, very shy, reserved person, but very talented. And we, for some weird reason, especially with these child actors or child celebrities, they don't mature as time goes on. Their minds kind of stay at that point of like prepubescence and adolescence. Again, that's not really a pass for them. That's not a pass. It's just uh, my visual perception
Right.
of what goes on with these celebrities, especially when they get fame really early. They don't change because they don't need to change. If people give you everything on a silver platter, why should you mature? That's just my point. Like, because we say, oh, you need to be better and stuff. And I'm glad for people like J. Cole because he became aware, from what I understand, he became aware that like, hey, this stuff will trip you up, so you need to keep the important people around while you get ahead. But that's just my ignorant perspective of J. Cole. That's just things I've heard, and I think that's great. You just have to be aware of because it's like things move very fast, as far as I can tell, in the celebrity industry. So it's like it's very easy, and they say the love of money is the root of all evil because money represents ability. For me, I like to think money represents ability, opportunity. So it's like if you have everything, you can get anything you want. Why should you change? But if you do change, you become very adaptable to doing great things because you adapt to the situation rather than just stay the same because you don't have to. So that when things do change, you're a bit more prepared than the next guy who's just blowing their millions, not changing, and then when their millions is gone, they just act like a fish out of water. They can't breathe, they can't move, they're just pretty darn useless. Um, and so coming back to R. Kelly is just like because he's been given everything. And again, this kind of reminds me of Bill Cosby because of a similar instance, and other celebrities as well who have everything. And for me, I wouldn't be surprised if we figure out that Hollywood was just a dangerous sexual place for people. I've heard it from different people and how some people got out because of crazy stuff like that. But the point is, besides any of that, it's just no one's. I mean, evil lurks. Evil exists, and so especially at a place where you have the opportunity to commit evil or do things that are in excess or do things that are irresponsible, because especially in our music it promotes irresponsibility. They say that's not our we're not role models. It's not our responsibility to help people or teach them morality. That's up to the parents. We're just making music.
Right.
And I think part of that problem is just like the irresponsibility. And I think that's why other countries they have a tighter knit because they recognize that they're they have to take care of these people. They're the authority, and they're the entertainment. Like for instance, in South Korea, I'm pretty sure there's a heavy censorship in South Korea, where there's like you can't be overly explicit. You do what we tell you to do. And so, given that, I'm pretty sure there's this understanding like that music, words, influence, they do things. They're very heavy, which is to me like why these like black leaders is kind of a scary thing as far as I can understand within the government. It's because if they have all this angst and this anger and they have a lot of influence that could cause a revolution, cause a panic, cause like a great force that may be just detrimental to the government. And I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I'm hoping that if somebody does acquire influence, that they lead the nation as a whole, or at least do something positive with that influence. Which is dangerous because that person is a high value target, but at the same time, that person, you don't know what that person can do because you can't control them. That person is a risk. I like to think so. Just if we hop into the shoes of the potential government in a general, very extremely general sense, that makes sense to me. Now, going back to R. Kelly, I'm sorry if I rabbit trail. I just have to say this stuff because that's where my mind goes. But R. Kelly, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. That's what I want to say. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And just because you should, well, I guess that means you should. I think that makes sense. You know. So wait. I'm sorry. My line of thought. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean you should. So you shouldn't do it. Um, so in regards to just R. Kelly, especially with this "oh, what was me" kind of rap, I'm like, that's you're very late. That's like 30 years ago. You should have said something extremely close. You should have had that handle, like, especially if he had like money like that, and and maybe he saw it now, but I don't know. It was just real weird to me that he had this pity party song out. Like I just feel like you could have said that a lot sooner, and that would have been a little more effectual. But I don't know, man. I just think if people going through stuff like that, and I think partially in the black community, we need to have better awareness of mental health. Jordan Peterson to me is an awesome guy. Like he promotes self help all the time. Very helpful, very helpful. And so having self help, I just think we need to be far more aware of mental health than we have been, because yeah, because mental health is important. It's real important, you know. So so if you've been a victim of something, I encourage you, because he tried telling somebody, they didn't listen. So I just encourage, man, whoever's going through it, get some help. Get some help. Talk to your family. If they don't listen, get some help. I've seen even this famous Facebook video about this girl who's committed, she's confessed to her mother that she wanted to, this guy was in her bed and doing funny stuff, and then she makes the mother makes all these excuses and saying he's a good man and all this stuff, and it's just priorities. What's most important? Why do you value this man over your daughter? And that again, that just like those priorities that we need to have as just black people, and if it's from people from another race, then have your values better somewhere else too. Because if you say you're in the Bible, especially in Proverbs, promotes wisdom, promotes intelligence. you know, um, so it's just like promoting self, like love for yourself, and also wisdom for yourself, and a bunch of other things. So that's why I don't shun self help, because the Bible has a bunch of self help in it, and it promotes self help. It promotes wisdom too, being smart, as well as being in tune with godliness. Um, it just avoid that fleshly nature that overindulges, overreaches, overreacts, just basically does those things that are negative to you and your personhood. So that's all I got. Just really get engineer 30 minutes. Um, I don't know. What do you think? Because is R. Kelly is is the music videos okay? Are you gonna keep listening to him? I mean, I'm not gonna criticize you if you do. It's just keep in mind like that the person that you're listening to, he isn't just a sexual being that's just like, hey, if you want to get freaky with people. Like, no, this dude, his compass was like, I'm getting free with these teenagers, you know. And yes, they could be 18, 19, but it's like, why not people his age? Um, where is this preference coming from? Is there a pathology in his mind that denies him? Because he had got molested by an older person, so maybe there's that stigma in his mind of older people where he doesn't feel like he connects to them or he likes them, you know. So maybe there's that stigma. I don't know. I personally don't know, and I'm not trying to defend his actions. I'm just trying to understand them. So but personally, if I had a verdict, I would just say because he just continues to keep doing it, he has to pay some penalty. And then once he shows some sign of like changing, attempting to change, not just saying making lip service, he has to, wisdom is proven by its results. That's what Jesus said. So, and that's me, that's everybody. Wisdom is proven by its results. So I speak this wisdom, but is it gonna come true? Are the results of that wisdom, is that projected in reality? So that's what I say. Perhaps he should be grilled for a moment, and then after a line of repentance, just a line of actions that shows, hey, I'm done, I'm trying to change. Then we accept them back in. I don't know if Chris Brown was like that, but I don't think he's smacking women up anymore. Shad Moss, I, that's a video for another day. I don't know what happened in that one. His face scratched up, the female's face isn't bruised up, and we're laughing at him, and it's just like, that lady scratched his face up. That's not okay. Those things look like they're permanent. So I don't know. That's all I got for you. Hope you appreciate the video. Um, yeah, choose better options. God bless you, and do your best and love people and love yourself.